All right, so why do we use Excel? It's really flexible. It's easy to write formulas, and our teams are ultimately very flexible with it. An important feature, and this is the bit where we don't think about it too much. I certainly didn't when I first started with Excel, but it adds across the page really well. We can do a sum or formulae, and it adds up and down really well. Same deal. We can do some formulae and stuff, and we'll do some samples of that. Um, the thing is, though, that's great. If we look at that, that's like a little P&L there, right? We've got some accounts and we've got some months across the top. But we're not just one report. So we're going to have, in this case, it's countries. And as the countries start to mount up, typically we'd pop those on a different tab. So we can start to see the tabs building up. And it's much more difficult to add across tabs. There is no formula that sort of runs this way, back across the tabs. You've got to go equals this tab plus that tab plus that tab. And that's a warning sign. So every time something new turns up, I don't have to just update one thing. I've got to update every cell because every cell relies on every tab. And that's where it starts to compound. So it's not too bad when you've got one workbook and a handful of tabs with a few cells on it. But the reality is your Excel models look like that or something more approaching it. It's far more complex. And so the thing is, if the CEO walks in and says, right, we're adding a new division, or I want to do a new initiative, and all of those get affected, they've got dozens of tabs in each book. We're talking a serious undertaking to keep that maintained. And I think that's the feeling that people get. They go, yes, if the business stayed as it was, we could get on top of it. But with changing environments and changing requirements, it is a serious undertaking. Now, there's another reason that it forces us to use so many spreadsheets. This is like inherent in Excel. So in that case, like I said, we've got accounts up and down the page, just like a normal P&L. We've got months across the top, and we've got countries going back. So we would describe that, if we were looking at it geometrically, we'd call it a dimension. So accounts would be a dimension. So if everyone sort of thinks of this as a dimensional thing, and then across the bottom, I've got a second dimension, and that makes a report. It's a flat page, and we're very, very used to that. And then if we think about it one extra step, we got a third dimension, which is countries going back. Okay, so we're now approaching the realm of 3 dimensions, and that makes a cube. And some of you may have heard of cube technology, like in the reporting space and business intelligence. There's this sort of talk about cubes and things like that. It's nothing more than what I've just explained. That is it. So now you're all cube masters. So don't worry about the names cubes and dimensions. They're really just things. So a cube is all the reports stacked up. But the thing is, we need more than account, month, and country to run our business. There's more than 3 things. There's version, business unit, cost center, product, employee, currency, site, department, style, season, subcategory, machine line. The list goes on. There's potentially 50 that you might need to tackle in those different tabs. Where do we put those extra dimensions of our business? It's a little bit hard to draw something that's more than 3D shaped. I honestly haven't cracked that one, but we'll keep working at it. The thing is, where else do we put them? We put them in even more spreadsheets, which brings us back to our friendly little spreadsheet diagram. They just proliferate. Why? Because we have to. Because we've got side P&L 1, side P&L 2. Well, they're different views of the same data, really. So it all gets a little bit complicated, but the problem is you need them and they have to be maintained. They just become another thing to maintain.